The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Kat Sparrow. Today, my guest is Tristen Sierra, a realtor of 8 years serving clients in the Hudson Valley of New York. Welcome to the show, Tristen. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, we like to start the show with finding out, what's your story? What's your origin story for getting into real estate?
All right. So I feel like I've been telling this story a lot lately. Sariana, my daughter, was born in 2017, and I was not sleeping because she was not sleeping. So I needed mindless TV. I turned on the TV and Shah's the Sunset was on, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. I went to real estate school the very next day, like an actual physical school. And I went into a brokerage, Coldwell Banker, Cindy Darcy, the absolute most amazing and incredible woman. And she interviewed with me and I was like, how much money am I going to make? And she's like, nothing. What? I've never had a job where I didn't make any money. So that was definitely a shocker to me. But that's basically how I started. It was really a fluke. And I've realized that when you go to school, they tell you about a doctor, tell you about a lawyer, they tell you about a teacher, but there's this person that opens a door, because that's what everybody thinks we do. What is that person? Nobody knows really what a real estate agent does, and it's not something that they talk about. So,
well, you got into it, and then you heard you weren't going to make money. What kept you going to figure out how to do the job?
All right. So my whole thing, and that's actually my sweatshirt, and so it's my new line, and
yeah, I want to hear about it.
So it comes from when I first got into real estate. I joke, I am an acquired taste like blue cheese. You either love me or hate me. There's nobody that's like, I could take blue cheese every once in a while. But I'm me. And I was on the phone with a client one day and I said like hun or something. And I was also telling this client, we had 2 homes, and I knew these people were not going to like the home that was more expensive. And I'm talking them into getting a less expensive home. So this one agent says to me, your job is to tell somebody to get the more expensive home. You can't call people hun and babe. That's not how realtors speak. And I dressed my own style, and that's not professional. And that's not how realtors dress. So my first year in real estate, I made a whopping $8,364. Whopping, like, I can't even. And then I decided that I was going to win or lose as myself, because I wanted to do this, and I wanted to show people that you can be whoever you are. And that whole thing, like you vibe with your tribe, it's the same thing. You're not going to get every listing. You're not going to get every buyer. That's okay. But don't change yourself. But the thing that kept me going, because I quit so many times, like I would be like, I'm done. And then I, obviously didn't quit. Cindy was, and I talk about her all the time. She's no longer with us, but she was that person that I quit to her a million times. And she just was always able to like talk you out of the flames. Everything's coming down around you. And I was freaking out, and I called her and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm going to get a job at like 9 to 5 job, and I'm going to do this. And she always knew like the right words to say. I also want to be a lunch monitor. I was like, I'm done. I quit. I'm a lunch monitor.
I was going to work at Starbucks, frankly, every time I quit. Nothing wrong with Starbucks, but I was like,
literally,
tell me what your order is, because I can't do this anymore. I get it. I totally get it.
I would never come home with any money because I'm slightly obsessed with coffee. So that's that's my thing of how
Yeah, I love it. Well, for you guys who don't know, and you will once you check out Tristan's social media, but your social media really shows who you are. And how did you sort of, I mean, I so appreciate your authenticity. It's one of my favorite things about you, and I love your social media. And I'd love to hear sort of how you went from that $8,000 to being more you, to being successful, and then to taking that authenticity to social media. So, what's the in between the $8,000 and being an incredibly successful agent and then social media?
So, to me, authenticity is such a big thing. You can't you can't fake being someone else. Like half the time, I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. If somebody tries to be me, when I initially started in real estate, I wanted to get a new phone because I didn't want anybody to have my number, and I did not want to post anything about my child on social media. And then that's like it's boring to how many times realistically are you up late at night and you're just scrolling through Instagram and you just need something that's mindless. You need to laugh. And in this world with all of the crazy stuff that goes on, you deal with that every single day. And I joke because I love Jersey Shore. I love Jersey Shore back in the day. I need an hour of mindless TV where you could just laugh and have fun. And that's what I wanted. So I really try to make people laugh and give them something. And Sariana is obviously, she's my only child. She's such a huge part of my life. And she'd been selling closing deals since diapers. She'd walk into her house and she'd be like, this refrigerator, this not refrigerator. And I got from I it was boring. I'd post something. And so I just started to decide that I was going to show people what a real estate agent was. You could be anything, you could be a mom. I'm a momtrepreneur. And I try to post things to give informational things, but also in a fun, upbeat way that people are actually going to look and pay attention because I don't like to watch the news. It's boring. So, it's
So
kind
do
of.
you use your social media for your most marketing, or is there something else that you focus on? Because I mean, I see your social media all the time. Lucky me, because
Oh,
I'm obviously in your algorithm. But do you need to use other marketing to do what you
so
do?
when I first got into real estate, that like 1970s way of doing real estate with the book, and that's been done. And the first thing I said in one of our meetings was like, can I put stuff on Instagram? And somebody in the class was like, oh, you can't do that. Like, we don't do things like that. And now again, I've always been, is it illegal? Is it immoral? No, then I can do it. So I started doing it. COVID hit. And I have had a job since I've been 14 years old. All of a sudden we are unemployed. We could not go show a home. So here I am posting silly content on Instagram, and that's like really where I do focus most of the stuff. So I started making these silly videos where 6 feet. So I'll never forget, I was in a cul-de-sac and I was all the way over there and I was like, hey, everybody say hi to my client. We are 6 feet away. And I'm holding my phone up and I'm just making this. And I'm like, yeah, let me show you the video. Come on, put me on FaceTime, go through the house. Yeah, you make a right, there's a kitchen. Yeah, go that way. And I was just doing stupid stuff. And the funny thing is that I had sold properties on Instagram during COVID when people weren't doing that because they wanted to focus on that antiquated mentality of like the book and needing to do things. I mean, I do want to be professional, but I also I want to be fun. And this is a huge thing for anybody buying a house or selling a house. So I want to give you that little bit of a light, you know.
But I know you're also a really capable agent. I don't want anyone who's watching to think that you are fluffy because you are not. You are fully capable. And I wonder, like, can you tell everybody how you're doing in terms of your production and what you've basically become as a result of all the things you've done?
Um, so my going back to my first year, my $8,364, and then they weren't even able to quantify the year over year from my that to the next year. Um, a lot of the being me. I'm very good at what I do. My whole thing now is don't realtorize me.
Yeah,
Don't.
tell us. What's that about?
Oh,
Tell us.
this is a new thing that I've started saying, and then I actually got it trademarked. And so we started doing a merch line, which has done very well actually
Cool.
past 2 days. But anyway, don't realtorize me. Don't give me that sales pitch. Be honest and upfront. And I don't want gimmicks. I don't want things like that. I'm really good at what I do. I'm the top 1% of agents in Orange and Rockland County, because I won't. First of all, there's so many problems that as a real estate agent we go through. And but if you're paying me, I kind of take your stress on. So I'm not going to call my clients every couple of minutes and be like, oh my God, so this happened and this happened. What is the point of you then? You know, all these problems like I fix before I have to tell them. And I will tell them this was the issue. It's fixed. Everything is resolved now. So don't worry. But I am very good at what I do. And I also am like a fierce advocate for my clients. Um, and that's something that I think that more people should be like, don't focus so much on yourself and your money because it's not about you. You need to focus on their needs. And I've done that and I will yell at people. I have done that too. In order to get the best for my client. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've been an advocate, which is so important. And I this is one of the things I love to talk to people about because I think a lot of people don't know and they get this image from the media about who we are and what we do and the degree to which we're dedicated. And I've yet to meet an agent who is not hugely dedicated. What do you love the most, Tristen, about this business? You stayed with it for almost a decade, so you found something that you absolutely love. What's your favorite thing?
Um, Honestly, when you go and you work in a 9 to 5 job, I go in and I make X and I work 1 hour and I make X. I work 2 hours if I'm a salaried. But when something is completely how much you put into it, that's what you can take out of it. Um, I can tell you, I do work. I took Sariana to Disney. She actually told me I was not allowed to take the laptop. There was a little
Workaholic much?
a little bit. But I love it. Like I put my heart and soul into this, and I've got clients that have said to me, like, I'm not talking about we see selling sunset and $1 million listing and all that. That's not realistic about what we do. It was a $600 rental, and it was a dad that came to me for his daughter. And at the end of the day, like when everything happened, he said to me, "Can I hug you?" And he was crying and he was like, nobody wanted to help my daughter because like nobody wanted this price point and everything. And you did. And I'm thankful to, and that's the thing that really gets me. And I want to help somebody like that. And I think that unfortunately in our industry, everybody makes an assumption that we're all, and I love Ryan Serhant. Okay. Let me not say anything. I watched $1 million listing. I loved it. But it's great to be able to buy that, but that's not what most people are buying. You're looking at, especially in like Orange County, let's say $400,000. That's a more realistic thing. And unfortunately, I think that everybody wants to be this ultra luxury agent, and all these people underneath here just are forgotten about. And I want to help people that have that feeling.
I mean, that is the best sense of goodwill. I always feel like why not be good to each other anyway? But my hope is one day that person that you helped at $600 wins the lottery and they remember how great you were. And that's part of not because you're doing it for that, but because your dedication to them help them see that there's somebody who actually cares. So I appreciate you highlighting that. That's really important. What do you think, Tristen? I know you and I have been in a program where we were coaches, and I'd love to know what are some of the things you think you'd love to see some agents change?
So unfortunately, when I got into the business, um, I love to coach people, and I love my favorite thing is I don't want to help somebody, not saying that I wouldn't, but I want to help someone that is trying to start out and get into the business. And I want to show them the great parts. There are bad parts too. Like I'll show you that. But I want to help you and show you the great parts. And how can I do it? Unfortunately, I feel like I didn't get that when I got in. Now I totally spaced and like lost the question.
Oh, no,
I
I was saying, is there anything that you'd like to see agents do more of or less of, even things that you'd like to see agents do based on, your experience coaching people?
Yeah, answer the phone, or if you can't, which I get it, text back, call back, email back. Those are my biggest pet peeves. There are 24 hours in a day. That's 24 hours for you, 24 hours for me, 24 hours for every. You're saying you put a house on the market, or I'm trying to get in contact with you, and you're completely ignoring me. So your 24 hours is more important than mine and my buyer. That drives me crazy. I don't like things like that. Answer the phone. I also don't like the realtor shaming, or I feel like we're in such a business where a lot of people want to be like every man for themselves. I don't want to do that. I have seen agents in other companies um, that literally that came to me and are like, I want to put an offer on your property. I don't know how to, but you're on a team. Why isn't your coach teaching you this? You don't know. I'll help you. I want to see more people being like willing to help. It doesn't matter that we're not on opposing sides. The buyer wants to buy a house, the seller wants to sell a house, and we're supposed to be helping. So I think that those are my biggest issues. Be more inclusive. Don't always want to be at odds with the other person or another agent because you think that like that I could get one step above. And no, I don't want to do that. And that's not how. And I joke that like I can make a ton more business if I acted like that. And I don't want to do that. I want to help people, not only somebody buying or selling, but I also want to help other agents. So
Yeah, well, it's really important that people have heart and soul in this business. And I love highlighting the fact that a lot of people do, and I know you, and I know that you have that, and I appreciate it. I also know that in following you on social media, you've had some real doozies of houses that you've walked into. What either is the craziest house you've ever seen and or the craziest situation you've ever been in with your real estate experience?
oh God. I mean, there was a couple of them. All right, let's see. So there's a couple of times I'm also terrified. I'm very scared as far as like ghosts and things like that. So I was in a house in Westchester, and this was like 1700s house, and we're in a basement, which apparently, from what I was told, they actually used to like house people down in this basement millions of years, whatever. My clients were in front of me. There was nobody behind me. This was not a fun basement. It was spooky as all heck. And I literally am walking, and no joke, it wasn't a spider web. I don't care. It was a tap on my shoulder, tap, tap. And I went, and I proceeded to, like any normal, sane adult, run out screaming from that. Like I literally left my clients. I just ran hysterically screaming outside the house. And then I called them and I was like, could you guys lock up? Because I'm not going back in there. I've had a few of those.
Say, I think New York State might be one of the states in the country that allow haunted houses, something to be legally labeled as a haunted house, right?
Oh no, this was not there. It's not like there was actually any signs of anything, but I don't know. I'm sure somebody died in this house back in the day. I know
Probably.
out of natural causes.
Yeah, that's
But
where people died. They lived and died in their home.
so the one thing though, as a female, and I definitely want to bring it up, there was something very recently in the news regarding an agent, female agent, going on a listing appointment, and the guy had a noose up in his basement and a chair And I mean, he told her he was going to kill her. Thank God she was able to get out of there. And then watching things as a female agent, one of the things that we need to be very careful about is obviously safety. That goes for everyone, but especially us as females. And I've been in a situation before where follow your gut, because your gut is so important, going back to like cavemen era when maybe I should run right now. There's a lion coming at me. But that's the same thing. I just had that bad feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I'm literally on a dead end street all the way there. And this had acreage. The closest house was acres away. Thank God I was meeting my contractor there as well, who I trusted. But I was like, I'm not getting out of the car. Like, I am not, this is where I am. So as a female agent, I do always tell somebody where I'm going. Be as protected as you can be. There are obviously classes that you can take, whether it's self-defense or also to learn about how to kind of show people the home so that they are in front of you. Open houses are notorious for, God forbid, things happening. I've always done an open house where I let one family in, whether it's you by yourself or you and your spouse, you and your kids, whatever, only that, and always kind of keep them in front of you. That is something that is so, so, so important. And it's happening, unfortunately, more now, I think, than ever before.
That's such a good point, and thank you. And you guys who are watching, absolutely take care of yourselves, make sure you're aware of your surroundings. And thanks for the reminder about trusting your gut. That's something that most people forget to do, and they think that just because they're there with a client, they get wrapped up in the importance of the client, or maybe their commission, and they forget their safety comes first. So thank you for that. So I'm really curious, Tristen, you've done really well in the years after your first year. And I wondered, like, what do you feel like is next for Tristen in terms of real estate? I love your merch. We're going to
Thank
promote your merch,
you.
but I'd love to hear what you want to have happen or what you think is going to happen next for you.
So I currently have my associate broker's license. Um, but I don't know. What I see for myself is I want to bring more people, and I want new blood. Not somebody that's been in the business. I've been active as far as going to schools and doing career days and things like that. And unfortunately, a lot of these kids don't know anything about real estate. You open a door. That's what I've been told. And that's not their fault that they don't know. I want to do more of that. I want to show people how amazing this industry is. And you know what? It is definitely not for everyone. And that's okay. Just like a home, there's a million different kinds of homes. There's a home for everybody. Not every home is perfect for you. But that's what I want to do. I really want to grow the real estate industry, and I want to bring it into the new age, with some new blood.
I love that. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate the time, Tristen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, it's been another great episode of the Icons Real Estate Podcast. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share it, and subscribe on social media and all your podcast platforms. Until next time, I'm Kat Sparrow. Thank you so much for watching.